What's up, guys? Today we're going to be looking at this Jeep Wrangler, and we're going to be talking about the Jeep Death Wobble. Alright guys, this is a 2005 Jeep Wrangler. It is experiencing what people refer to as the death wobble, which is when you hit a bump and you get a lot of front end oscillation. And there's several different things that can cause this, but let's go under it, take a look, and we'll talk about a couple of the things. Okay, here we are looking at the suspension in the front. The reason why these are so prone to death wobble is it does have a solid axle in the front instead of having independent suspension like a lot of other cars have. And any play or problem in this steering and suspension system could potentially cause the death wobble type symptoms. But in particular, what we're going to be looking at is today the track bar, which is this bar right here that runs along and up to the body right here, and the steering stabilizer. Because if you look right here, this steering stabilizer is coated in oil all along the outside edge here, showing that it is leaking through this front seal. So that is a very probable cause there. But also, another thing you can check for, this track bar is a big culprit in these kinds of problems. And what I did was, you can start this thing up, have someone sit in it while you can see under it and steer the wheel. And if you see a lot of play here or play here, then that would tell you that this bar needs to be replaced, or at least that bushing. This one has play on both ends. So what we're going to be doing today, we're going to be replacing this track bar with a Moog unit, and we're going to be replacing this steering stabilizer. Between the two, that should take care of our problem. Okay, and the track bar is out and laying right here. What I did was took this top nut out and hit the side of this with a hammer, not the stud, but the side of the bracket with a big hammer a few times. Pop straight out. Now let's take a look at what we were replacing it with. This is a Moog problem solver that I picked up on Rock Auto. Here is the, well, the part number is kind of legible here. It's a DS1235, and the only thing I will mention about these Moogs that I don't really like, the grease fitting it came with did not even fit into this arm, so I had to get another grease fitting, and then it went straight in, so no problem there. But just be aware of that. So now we're just going to take this over there, get it back in. So the first thing to do here, we're going to get this track bar back in, and to start that, I'm just going to start the ball joint side here in the body and get the nut on there just to hold it up. Once that's good and secure and holding that up, we'll move over to the other side. I'm just going to put the cotter pin and the nut over here out of the way for a second. Now the other side may have shifted, especially if you have it on the ground like I do, and may not allow this nut and bolt to line up like they're supposed to. That shows where the nut goes right there. But if that's the case, like it is in this one, you may need to get someone, or even you can sort of kick it with your foot, but you may need to get someone to push the Jeep sideways a little bit to get this hole to line up the right way to get this bolt started. But what I did was I pushed it over, started the bolt most of the way through first, then got the nut up behind it, just like this. Then started it slowly, and once I got it to start into the nut decently, then I went ahead and tightened it down. Just like this. Then I went back with the ratchet, ran down the nut on the ball joint side all the way. Then I just used the ratchet and socket to crank it a little further to line up the hole for the little pin to go through. After finishing that job, it was time to move on to the steering stabilizer. I'm going to start by removing the cotter pin here. This is held in by a nut and bolt on one side and just this one nut on the other side. Then I took the ratchet and removed the bolt on this side, or nut rather, on this side. And for the next part, I needed a special tool to remove this from the arm. One thing that is an absolute lifesaver when working on the suspension parts on this is this ball joint separator tool. I will link this in my Amazon store if anybody wants to pick one up, but they are great for separating ball joints or even for getting that out. So that's just something worth checking out. So here's the part number for the steering stabilizer that's going back in. This is a Monroe part. It does come with this mounting adapter, which you have to attach to the small end first. That's what I'm doing right here. Then we just put it back into place. I like to start by putting this end on over here. It does come with another washer which goes right here, and then the castle nut right here. And then of course when you're done, there's a cotter pin that will go through there. But I'm just getting it attached right now enough to get the other side attached. So you'll have to extend it a little bit on this side and then just run the nut and bolt through it. In this particular case, it was a little wide for the bracket, and it might be on yours too. And if it is, you can either try to spread the bracket a little bit, or you can shave down the sides, but then it should slip right in and start. Okay, then after some more work, hold on a second, lens is dirty. After some more work, we've got the new dampener in right here. And we've got the new arm in. I went ahead and greased the arm, so that's done too. So that's it. As far as I may have missed some stuff with this dampener because I really had to fight it. But basically, you could just unbolt it from here, knock it up through, unbolt it from here, and then you just take it off, put the new one on. It's pretty straightforward. This was a real pain in getting it off though, and I had to do quite a bit to get that loose. That was probably 30 or 40 minutes of the job right there. But other than that, it is all together and we are ready to test drive. So that is it for today on the Jeep. I did test drive it. I recommend aligning it after you change that track bar, because if there's any little difference in length, or if it's been aligned with the old worn out track bar, then it's probably going to throw your steer head off. So I'm going to advise the customer of that. But other than that, everything is done and it's ready to go. I hope this was informative to somebody. If it was, please drop me a like down there and let me know that the video helped you in some way. Drop me a comment, let me know what you thought, and make sure you're subscribed so you can see future videos. I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and peace.